Hi guys and dolls, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Today I wanted to talk to you about a sexual disorder called PGA. Before I get started, for those of you who are subscribed, thank you. If you're not subscribed, sign up. It's free, and free is affordable. Okay, you guys, so if you don't know anything about the disorder, PGA, which is called persistent genital arousal. If you don't know much about it or anything about it, your first reaction might be, orgasms all the time? Sign me up. Only problem with that is it's not fun. It's actually miserable for the person who is suffering from that, and they're trapped. They're basically imprisoned in their own body. You can't go to the movies, the restaurant, out with friends, out with family. You can't do anything without that possibly interfering and happening in front of everybody, okay? It's not fun. It's imprisonment, and it's a living hell. Not only that, but, and I'm surmising because I've never had it, thank goodness, but anything that's really great, if you have it every single day, all day long, it loses its enjoyment. It's no longer thrilling because you're doing it so often. And that's the same thing with this. And like I said, I'm surmising because I've never been through it, and I wouldn't want to go through that. Okay? So let me read the definition to you. PGA, or persistent genital arousal disorder, so technically it's PGAD, my bad. Persistent genital arousal disorder, I have candy in my mouth, so bear with me. It's a phenomenon in which afflicted women experience spontaneous genital arousal, unresolved by orgasms and triggered by sexual or non-sexual stimuli, eliciting stress. Some people will resort to not having sex at all as a result of this because they know it's going to trigger the landslide, right? Some people will have it more often because they're trying to get it under control. So it is, here's another definition of it. Persistent genital arousal disorder is a chronic sensation of sexual arousal, not related to sexual thoughts or stimulation in any way. Okay? One person said, my genitals are always in the mood, but I'm not, and it's putting a strain on my relationship. So let's see what this article says. So part of this article says, so some of you might be reading this and be confused. You can't have too much of a good thing, right? How can feeling too turned on down there be a bad thing? And how can it be bad for my relationship if I feel or my partner feels this way? If my partner experienced this, it would probably mean that they would always be in the mood, right? How can that be bad? But it's extremely distressing and poorly understood, has a negative impact on well-being and day-to-day functioning. There's a mismatch between the sensations experienced in your genitals and what is going on inside your head. In other words, your genitals are in the mood, but your mind is not. It is thought that PGAD affects approximately 1% of the population, and those with it report experiencing high levels of depression, anxiety, and even suicidal ideation. Despite the negative impact of this condition on mood and well-being, surprisingly, there's little research focused on it. Which don't make a lot of sense, does it? You would think that we doctors, scientists would want to get to the bottom of it. Hello? Let's see, what else is this? I'm kind of skimming through the article. People with this have lower relationship and sexual satisfaction, higher levels of sexual distress, and more symptoms of anxiety and depression compared to those who do not have this condition. They also report that it negatively impacts the relationship in a number of ways. For example, in this recent study, many participants felt that aspects of their physical, emotional, and sexual intimacy were either somewhat or much worse as a result of their persistent genital arousal symptoms. These findings make sense because nearly 2/3 of the sample also said that they avoid sexual activities with their partner in order to prevent their symptoms from being triggered, right? And we talked about that a few minutes ago, right? They'll either have sex all the time or they'll avoid it because they know it's going to start a nightmare once those, once that sexual activity takes place. They know it's downhill from here. So even though it might seem like having this condition could be a positive thing, the small amount of data they did do, okay? Data from this research study strongly suggests otherwise. Like I said, you're a prisoner in your own body. There is no scenario that you guys or myself could come up with where it's okay to express that unless you're home by yourself. Okay? Can you imagine being in church and having that? Okay? You're having Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner with your family. You can't do that. You can't do that without your body betraying you with this bizarre condition that they do not know enough about. Okay? So it's just beginning to be recognized by the diagnostic classification symptoms. I don't know why. I guess they figure, well, there's only 1% of people who have it, so not a big deal. It is a big deal because those people are suffering and they want it to end. If that type of thing pushes someone to be suicidal, it's not a party. Do some research, figure it out, people. And people who have it need to research too with their loved ones or their partners to try to get to the bottom of it. Let's see. Some good news is that the International Society for the for the Study of Women's Sexual Health, which is also called ISSWSH, they put together an expert panel of researchers in the field of women's sexual dysfunctions. This expert panel came up with a formal definition of, let's call it PGAD. In addition, persistent genital arousal in women, so far as they know, women are the only ones who have this condition. It will be added to the forthcoming version of the International Classifications of Diseases, the 11th revision, CD11, World Health Organization forthcoming, which is scheduled to be released in January of 2022. We hope that men and other gender... what is happening? Let's try that again. Quit laughing, it's not funny. We hope that men and other gender identities will also be included, and we look forward to seeing if any diagnostic symptoms are added to the term in the ICD-11. So the stigma surrounding this condition and the levels of shame that patients experience is very, very high. Many individuals, including healthcare providers, don't fully understand the condition or even know what it is. This lack of knowledge and misinformation can lead people to make unwelcome jokes about the condition, which only serves to invalidate patients' experiences and perpetuates the shame. Shedding more light on poorly understood conditions like PGAD and on the ways it can impact various aspects of well-being can further validate patient experiences and hopefully bring about more social awareness into this debilitating and distressing condition. This is from SexLab CA, SEXLAB.ca, and it says, my genitals are always in the mood, but I'm not. Okay? So I ran across something similar, and I knew that this existed, and to understand it more, I basically watched YouTube videos, right, that talk about this condition and how people who are affected by this condition how it impacts their lives, okay? So, I mean, there are much simpler things that can cause disagreements in relationships. For example, your partner wants, without this condition, right? So you want intimacy all the time and your partner doesn't. So that can cause a rift. So imagine if one of the partners had this. I wouldn't want anything to do with it. And like I said, I'm pretty sure I was ignorant too. I'm just going to keep it real. I'm sure I was ignorant too when I didn't know anything about it. I'm sure I was going, hey, that's not bad. That's great. No. There's nothing great about it. There's nothing great about it. Once you educate yourself on something and you get past your initial reaction to it, then you're like, oh, yikes. Yeah, no thanks. I'm good. I don't need that. I don't want to be with friends and all of a sudden break out in these intense multi-orgasmic nightmares, okay? So they do think it could be caused by nerve compression or nerve irritation down there, but they're not sure. They're just kind of winging it. And hopefully when this gets added to the diagnostic manual in 2022, hopefully it will wake people up, especially if you're a medical professional. You have a higher obligation to know about this. If I can know something about it and I'm no longer a medical professional, there's no excuse for medical people not to know. It's your obligation to know, because if a patient presents to you with this symptomology, what are you going to go? What are you going to tell them? I don't know. I never heard of it. Take some Tylenol. Pull your head out and do some research. There's no excuse for you not to know. No excuse whatsoever. And for those of you who are suffering with this condition, I'm really sorry that you're going through this. I can only imagine how crippling it must feel to feel this way all the time, and there's nothing you could do about it. And hopefully there will be some type of treatment, some type of research that will come about in the future to where they can actually get to the, pardon the pun, but get to the bottom of it. I'm not trying to be funny. It's just the best words I could think of at the time. But hopefully they can come up with a treatment that is successful so that you're not trapped in your body and you can't leave your home for obvious reasons. Okay? So I just wanted to share that little information with you. Thank you for stopping by. It's good to see you, and stay cool like ice cubes. See you soon. Bye.